Today with the Australian Parliamentary Showcase featuring German businesses, and with me I have Tania, the federal member for Hasluck. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much.
No, it's my pleasure.
Thank you for being here.
No, it's absolutely our pleasure. Look, part of HOMAG's representation here today is to discuss industrialised housing, and it may apply in a local setting. I mean, how would you best, within your electorate, how would you, clarify or identify the challenges that home ownership and the housing crisis manifests itself?
Sure. So in my electorate, for context, is one of the fastest growing corridors certainly in Western Australia. And what we are seeing is still the traditional usage of materials, which does take time. It takes very particular skill types, and consequently that creates delays where we may not have enough skilled workers to be able to do those builds. So the challenge is on to be able to innovate within the construction sector to be able to build more affordable homes quickly.
Okay, I understand that the federal government is committed to approximately 1.2 million new homes within the next 4 to 5 years. Do you think we're on track to achieve that? If not, what other sort of methodologies do you think we could successfully examine in detail?
We can be with the right innovations, and I think this company is an example of the different ways we need to think about housing and move away. In WA, we're very much double brick and mortar approach to builds, whereas what we see in other states is they're using timber construction more so. We're seeing innovation around cement blocks. We're seeing innovation with hemp, and I think we need to be looking, with an open mind as to what's fit for purpose for our climate and for the conditions, and ensuring it meets the needs of local families. But within my electorate, we've got a big focus around the HAF to build affordable and social homes around our existing rail infrastructure, and that is a big shift because at the moment it's not there in any volume. But by building a little bit more higher density, having different footprints rather than a traditional big 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, which not everyone needs, by having that diversity mix of housing, I think we can be on track to meeting that goal.
Thanks for your time today, Tania. Appreciate it.
Much. My pleasure. Thanks so much, Michael.
Goodbye. Pleasure to meet you. We're at the Australian Parliamentary Showcase event featuring German businesses, and with me I have Dawson, the member for Fowler. Thanks so much for agreeing to speak with me briefly.
Thank you so much, Michael. Great to be here.
Look, part of the challenge that Australians do face is the housing crisis, not only affordability but in terms of supply.
Yes.
I mean, how in your electorate, let's say on a granular level, how's that being played out, and how do you feel about that?
Look, I have spoken a lot in Parliament around the need to increase supply because all of the measures that the federal government have put forward, such as the 5% deposit scheme or the help to buy, all of that doesn't actually address supply because we still have shortages of housing. And the cost of housing construction is increased, especially the supply chain, material, workforce shortages. And in Fowler, which is part of Southwest and Western Sydney, there's a growing population and migration. There's need for housing. But because there's lack of houses on the market, the property prices have gone through the roof, ridiculously through the roof. And so for me, addressing the supply, building more houses should be the first point of the goal for the government. And I don't know, and I have said this before in Parliament, they cannot meet their goal of building 1.2 million homes by 2050. They're not going to meet that target. And it's the whole supply chain, the whole cost of building, everything's gone up. So I don't know if we will get there.
It's an interesting challenge, but I think part of the general discussion that I, if you like, promote is the aspect of industrialised housing. Industrialised housing doesn't necessarily mean to conform to those stereotypes. It can be quite unique and specific.
Yep.
Is this in amongst your colleagues in the Parliament? Is there, if you like, a growing awareness of the opportunity that industrialised housing, such as HOMAG WEINMANN manufacture, or is it in its nascent stage, would you say, or is there sort of a growing acceptance that it's one of the options and pathways?
I don't know if that is actually even been discussed. I think the whole part of the problem to build more houses is through the planning process, and obviously different state and territories in Australia have different planning laws, and of course planning laws and environmental laws really put a lot of hurdles in front of actually having a house built. So sure, we should look at other options. If we can't build more houses, what are other options that we should look at? Be it, what do you call them, those stackable housing, people that are ready-made housing they can put together. But then I know that that's also an issue for planning in New South Wales, because how does it meet the Australian standards? Does it safety, fire, and all of that? So to have those kind of houses start to go up, it would take a lot of planning, but kind of coordination and collaboration between state, local, and federal to make sure that we should look at other ways of having more houses built.
Diley, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. We're here at the Australian Parliamentary Showcase for German businesses, and with me I have the federal member for Dawson, Andrew Willcox. Thanks very much for agreeing to speak with me briefly.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks. Look, what do you see as being the main housing challenges in your electorate, and how do you presently see as, if you like, addressing those housing challenges?
Look, we have a lot of people moving into our area, and there's not enough houses available. So that's the thing. So we've got some people ramping up some smaller houses, trying to make some smaller areas. We've got some people using like mobile houses, and then we've got the traditional, but we're really short of trades.
So one of the big issues the federal government is committed to is providing approximately 1.2 million houses in the next 4 years. Do you think they're on the target? And if not, how do you see them actually addressing and meeting that objective?
Yeah, well, so far they're not. Clearly missing the target. We've had, record amount of migration coming in, and I'm all for migration, but unfortunately the housing hasn't been able to catch up with that. What we need to do is some of the migrants that actually come in, we need to make sure we bring in some skilled workers, some tradies, some people who have got, can be electricians, plumbers, builders and whatever, so we can actually get on with the job. The other thing we can do, of course, is use new technology, and whether it be robotics or whatever, and actually speed the production line up. So anyway, I've got to run, but I do appreciate it.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.